Hey everybody, it's Justin over at Three Good Nerds here with my buddy Zach in this general area, ACC, Adam's Card Closet, and Scott with Reindeer Studios. That way, we're here to talk about the wonderful world of TTMing. What is it? How are we going to do it? Let's do this.
Welcome to Four Collectors.
Man, I was rocking out to that.
Everybody.
So I think we're a lot prettier than those guys, though.
Well, you definitely have a great beard. I was getting jealous. I was like, everybody here is going to have a better beard, except for Adam, who's nice and clean shaven. I do clean shave every once in a while, but I look like I'm 12, so I don't do it very often. My wife feels weird about it. So, but we are here to talk about the wonderful world of TTMing. What is TTMing? Pitfalls, how to get started, some tricks, and just kind of why are we doing it and why I love it so much. So what is TTMing? TTMing is through the mail, autographs. That is what the little acronym's for. And simply put, you send something to somebody, you hope they sign it and send it back. It's that simple. But there are a few things that I've noticed that newbies or rookies to TTMing don't always understand. And TTMing was a first one. What is TTMing? But there's some other things like what is NPNing? Do you know what an NPN is? No purchase necessary. Similar to a fan pack. So a lot of times people will put those addresses on the back of cards. They'll say you can mail something here for no purchase necessary. So that is similar to TTMing, but it's a little bit of a twist. So the sending off tater tot machines would be a good one. You can send off a index card to Topps or Panini and hope that they send you a card back. But with the TTMing, there's also another acronym, PWE, which stands for plain white envelope. So I think those are some of the acronyms I see. Then RTS, you never want an RTS, which is a return to sender. It's that yellow sticker that comes on your envelope. It's bad news. It means you wasted your time and your stamp. So you want to avoid those.
Oh, I see a stack.
A stack of RTSs over there?
No.
Oh.
I thought one there, but it doesn't have the
doesn't have the orange.
Yes, attempted not known.
Gotcha.
Oh, the actual stamp. Oof.
Yep. So, but I will let you guys go. But I was curious to know how you guys got into TTMing in the first place. Zach.
Actually, it started probably about 2014 or so. A buddy of mine, for my birthday, gave me a signed Robert Englund 8x10 and a signed Rodney Dangerfield 8x10.
Fun.
And I was like, where in the world did you get these? He's like, oh, I wrote to him through the mail and sent him photographs, and they signed them for me. I was like, how's this work? So he kind of broke everything down, and that's kind of when it hit me. And I've been doing it since probably about mid-2015 on, pretty solid.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger, and he will actually still do TTMing.
He does.
He does a lot of stuff for fees, but I've seen where you can mail him, and he'll send you like a little card that he made that he'll sign and still send back to you for free.
He's pretty good.
Side note, yeah, Rodney Dangerfield isn't going to be signing for you. If you get a Rodney Dangerfield in the mail, you should.
Then that thing had been lost for a few years.
That's right. Adam, how'd you get started?
Well, I never knew anything kind of about it until I started doing YouTube or whatnot and watching YouTube, and I seen a few channels doing it, and I sat there and said, "Man, that's cool. They're getting such and such Hall of Fame player back." Mm-hmm. And they sitting there telling me that they're free or $5 or $10, and 3 months, 6 months, a year probably went by. I sat there just saying, "Man, that's cool. I should start." A couple of guys kept replying back, "Yeah, you should," yeah. So forth. So I finally just jumped in the deep end of the pool and just started sending a couple out, and 2 years later, still doing it.
Yeah, it's addicting. It was addicting for me. Scott, how'd you get started?
So my first one I think was in '91, and I I believe I was reading a Beckett magazine, and it described how to send to the stadiums to try to get
interesting.
players. So this is my very first TTM.
Oh, that's fun. And you got it slabbed?
Yep.
That's a great one to get too.
Nice.
That's fun.
So then I took like a 30-year hiatus.
Well, I was saying I took a pretty long hiatus as well. I got out of collecting for the most part because girls ruin you and take all your attention. And then when I kind of got back into the hobby shortly after my son was born, I got sucked into one of the card challenges that some of the TTM channels will do from time to time, where they'll send you a pack of cards, and then it's a contest between a bunch of different TTMers to see how many cards they can get back, and there's a point scale and things like that.
Those are a ton of fun too.
Yeah, and then I totally got sucked in, and now I'm full on in it. I was doing it this week. I think I sent off about 50 this week. Just to see what am I going to get back. And I'll send off everything: baseball, basketball, Olympics. I'm really enjoying golf, racing. I'll send it all just to see what comes back. I just enjoy that a lot. And I tell my wife that I kind of get disappointed when I go to the mailbox every day and there's not an autograph in it. You kind of get used to it. It's a big surprise. It's like your little endorphin hit for the day. So Dr. Pepper's not cutting it anymore. I need an autograph in the mail.
It's kind of like getting your eBay fix in the mail, but cheaper.
That's true. Yeah. It's a lot cheaper than your eBay fix. So I guess for those who are just getting started, one of the big questions I've always received is, where are you guys finding all those addresses? And we know it's easy to say you can just send them to the stadiums, and that's great for current players, and it works for some former players, but it doesn't work for everybody, and it doesn't work for the non-athletes. So do you guys have a go-to site, or how are you doing it, Adam?
Yeah, I sit there and started off using the Sports Card Forum, which I think is the most known and the biggest free one and whatnot. And then I just started using Star Tiger one time, and paying for the subscription now, and just sit there, and it seems to be so much easier for me. So I like the website Star Tiger.
Gotcha. So I've never used Star Tiger. I know that's a pay for site. Do they do non-athletes as well if you want to do like movie stars and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they do.
So I use sportscollectors.net primarily. And I would say sometimes you can find non-athletes on there, but for me, it's kind of hard. It's pretty hit and miss. But the Sports Cards Forum has been okay. I don't like it as much as I like.
Star Tiger will break it down by teams, by era, sports, just anything that you can possibly break it down.
Gotcha. Does it give you the hit ratios and like that too?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Zach, who are you using?
Same, Star Tiger and Sports Card Forum mainly. And then weirdly enough, every now and then, alumni associations and halls of fame. A lot of halls of fame will forward to the last address they have for a player. I've got a few players that way through the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and the Hockey Hall of Fame does the same thing.
Gotcha. So interesting that you say that. I've tried the Soccer Hall of Fame because I was working on a set of the 92 or 94 World Cup women's soccer team. I think it was 94, but she's a big soccer player. So I was trying to see how many of those ladies I could get back and then make a collage for her. And I did try one through the Hall of Fame because I couldn't find an address for the lady, but she actually had moved to New Zealand per the Hall of Fame, who sent it back to me. So I did some research to see if I could find an address for her over there, and nothing so far. Go ahead.
I use Star Tiger too.
Sorry. You do? Do you guys ever do? Sometimes I'll look up like fan clubs. So I've sent off to some musicians, and I'll look up like such and such fan club to see if I can find an address online, or there's one that's like fanmail.biz, but I really feel like it's usually like agencies, and I never know how current that information is. So I've sent off to some agencies to try to get to the musician. I have had some successes that way, but I really feel like that's like flipping a coin.
It kind of is, but if you can get them, like I got several people through their agents, they would pass it along to them, or even Broadway. I've sent to theaters when actors were doing a run, and have had some actually really good success with guys coming off of Broadway.
Gotcha. Huh. Have you ever used the white pages? Anybody?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you just try to figure out where their home address or where they're from.
Well, there was one. It was Ken Houston. I sent to him, and I had seen his address, and I looked it up, and it turns out that the website had transposed 2 of the numbers.
Oh, okay.
On the website, so it was sending it off to like down the street, so it would just get bounced back. So, yeah, just pulled the old white pages search and like, oh, okay, it's like 20753 instead of 35 or whatever it was.
Very cool. And I guess the other one is, okay, so as a new collector, you've now found the address, you've figured out what you want to send. How do you send it? And I can tell you that for me, I write a real quick little letter. It's super simple. It'll be something to the effect of, I usually date it just for grins. Dear so-and-so, I hope this letter finds you well. Would you please sign the enclosed? And it's usually for me and my son's autograph collection. And I'll say, I really appreciate your time, and then all the best and my name. But then I'll send questions like I like to do on an index card. Now the index card serves multiple purposes for me. I need the index card. I put a little note on it because I like to see if they'll answer it. But it also provides some kind of like a spine in the package. And what I'll do is I'll take my piece of paper. Here's one. I will fold it. I'll put the index card and the card in it like so. I'll fold it over again. And then I'll take that SASC, the self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll slip it over the middle of it. Again, it's just a little bit of extra protection. And I'll just slide that in an envelope and let it go. So I've seen other people do some pretty interesting things with their letters as far as protectors and things like that. I never send penny sleeves. I've seen them where they will do like 2 index cards together and slip it in between. I do sometimes get my cards back dinged up, and for me it's just part of it. You never know if you're going to get it back, period, much less if it's going to be, have a roughed up edges. Are you guys doing anything unique to try to protect your cards when you're sending them out, or how do you actually send them out?
I used to put them in penny sleeves, but then this one came back and it was I didn't have a card, so I made a little photo of Ted Lindsay.
Okay.
And it came back signed there, but if I can get it out, he actually signed the penny sleeve.
Yeah.
So I top loaded that thing to try to figure out what to do with it.
Right.
So that was the thing. Okay, stop sending them in penny sleeves. And other than that, I just kind of put it in the envelope and hope for the best.
Gotcha. So you'd wrap it around your letter?
I fold up the letter and slip it in between the letter and the return envelope.
Gotcha. Scott, are you doing anything funny on your end?
So my letter is usually on an index card.
Okay.
And then I also do the questions on an index card.
Do you do 2 separate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have like what I call a card saver sandwich. So I just stick it in between 2 card savers.
Gotcha.
That are taped together on 2 sides.
Have you ever had them where they sign the outside?
Nope.
Huh.
So just like that.
Does your card saver sandwich always come back?
Not always, but usually.
Huh. Okay. Well, that seems like a good idea.
And that came to I sent to Doug Jones years ago, and he sent my return back in a card saver sandwich that I didn't send him. So I just kind of started doing that ever since.
That's fun.
And it's kind of easy to get the card out of there and put it back in.
So I would also be worried that the card saver sandwich would smudge the autograph. Does that ever happen?
No, not usually.
Oh, really? That's okay. Adam, how about you on your end?
So basically, I use 2 methods. Most of the time it's just a simple little index, and I don't make a sandwich or nothing out of it. I just put a few of them in there. and then put my cards in there and then ship it or whatnot. Basically, now if it's a nicer card or something like that that I don't want potentially bent, I might sit there and just put a loose card saver in there just to have a little bit more stability. But I don't even I used to try to put the cards in there, but I found that a lot of the athletes might immediately put it back in there, and then you would get a little of the smear or whatnot, and so on and so forth potentially. So I sit there and kind of did away with even putting them in there. I just put the card saver in the envelope just to add some more thickness or whatnot.
Gotcha. I know you do a lot of the Hall of Famers who ask for donations. Do you do something special with those? So like when a lot of the ones I sent off are free. So I'm always like, I may never ever get it. So when I do you do anything special with your requests other than maybe like asking for an inscription or anything like that? Or you're just like, hey, here's $5. I appreciate your time.
I don't know. I just feel like I try to personalize it as much as I can. Sit there and say, hey, first off, thank you for your time today. It's an honor, something like that. Just sit there and let them know I'm appreciative or whatnot. And then I just try to write them a little note,
Gotcha.
I'm a big fan of sports or baseball or whatever, and just would love to have your autograph at the end and then thank them or something like that at the end, And if I can recollect something about that athlete, I'll try to, hey, bring that up. If it's a Braves player, of course I'm going to say something about that or whatnot and so on and so forth. So yes, I sit there and try to do that with every athlete. It's not nothing that's going to take me nothing more than 30 seconds to a minute to write out either. So it's not like I'm writing a novel either. So.
Sure. Zach, do you what do you put in your request letter?
Pretty much the same thing. I especially like to, I always ask a question because you never know what it's going to come back with. I got a 4-page handwritten letter from Carrie Frazier a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I always try to do it if it makes sense. Like I never try to force one in just for the sake of it. But if they were on a team that moved cities and they were part of it, I always ask, well, what was that like going from city X to city Y, where there was a new fan base waiting? Sometimes the answers, most of the times they don't, but I always ask just in case, and then you get a 4-page letter back.
There you go. You never know.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you put in your letter?
Well, I don't ever lie to them. It's like, I think that should be clear. Don't tell Steve Balboni that you were my favorite player growing up, because he knows that he was not your favorite player unless you're his mother or something.
You never know.
But like I'm a big baseball fan or whatever. So yeah, I said I keep it on an index card, so it's pretty short, so I'm not taking up too much of their time.
Sure.
And then my questions are usually pretty simple questions, like what's your favorite fast food? Just kind of dumb stuff, but like maybe a little off the wall that they can answer quickly. I asked them if they have a favorite artist, because that kind of relates to how I send a TTM. And then who would play you in a movie if they made a movie about you?
There you go.
I get fun answers with that one.
Yeah, I like to ask. I don't ask any hard-hitting questions, right? I'm not going to ask you who you voted for and why, and anything that was controversial. I'm not asking that. Like the NASCAR guys, I like to ask them what their very first car was, or what was their very first job. It's usually something a mechanic in their daddy's shop or something like that. But their first car is sometimes really interesting. My first car was a 1940 something or other Ford that I bought from this other racer for $200. I love that. I mean, it took them no time at all, but I got so thrilled just reading stuff like that. I will ask like sports related questions sometimes. I asked a fullback recently, and his name escapes me. What does he think is the future of his position? Because I think it's going to go away. And basically his response was, if they don't get the fullbacks in the offense where they're actually catching the ball, the position is going to go away. And it's kind of already has. But that kind of stuff is interesting to me. But I don't ask anything controversial or hard hitting at all. And then I was going to say also in my letters, although I don't spend a lot of time talking to them a whole lot in the letters about, maybe what they meant to me personally, but I will add little quips. Like if they went to the Tigers, I'll always add a "Go Tigers" at the bottom, or if they're a Texas Ranger, I'll say, "Oh, go Rangers" and stuff like that. And I really try to do some research with my questions, and I try to personalize those depending on who the athlete is. My sports card ripping teacher Vinny said, "My son just said only old guys that sign." Received Spencer Strider recently. That's true, and I just sent off to Spencer Strider this week because I saw ACC get his back. Who are some other current players that are known to sign? Some of the younger kids might like to get in. So that's a great question. And from what I have seen, usually the rookies will sign more than the more established players.
Rookies, and then also you want to sit there and try to get the guys, whether they're still in the minor leagues, like Judge and different players would sign big time when they're in the minor leagues.
Yep.
So much with the majors. So maybe past the rookie year, second year, something like that. Probably pretty much you're going to only get those.
Yeah. As soon as their agents start saying they can make money and stop signing through the mail, they stop. So, but Adam's exactly right. If you can catch them in single, double, or AAA ball, that's usually the best way to do it. And if you send to like a AA ball club and they move up to AAA, I've found that a lot of times
they forward it up with them,
so you don't have to worry about it coming back. But that's a great way to do it. So those kids who are still playing because they love the game and may not be cashing those $1 million checks seem to be a lot better about signing through the mail.
And weirdly, that's kind of a baseball mentality, because there's a lot of current hockey players of note that are very, very good signers through the mail.
Yep.
I got, Cale Makar, sent him through the Avalanche. If anybody does send to him, he is only a 1 per. So if you send multiple things, you're only going to get 1 coming back. But,
yes. Speaking of
Carey Price has to be one of the best autograph signers in hockey, I think. That guy will sign anything through the Canadiens. So a lot of the young hockey players, or current hockey players too, they'll still sign, which I think is really cool.
Vogs, we'll actually get to that in just a little bit. I don't want to skip too far ahead, but yeah, we will absolutely give you our best and actually have some examples of some of the stuff that we got. And I do want to keep us going. I know I could talk about this all day, so I don't want to lose time. Unless you guys are okay with me doing 2 hours. Are we good with 2 hours? No. Okay, so we talked about how to secure it, labeling and sending your envelopes. So you mail just like you normally would mail. Now, I do have a question specifically for Zach. How are you doing your mail overseas? So I sometimes get confused with how to address a mail that goes overseas. Where do you put the country? What are these other sections for?
That is that was definitely the challenge, but I Googled, like, when I started sending, I would send to Sweden because there was a lot of hockey players. So I just Googled Swedish address format, and there was a site, I think it was BitBoost or something like that, and it broke down how to address it for a vast majority of the countries. So I kind of kept that as a template, and then would just change the address around and this and that. And that was a godsend, because trying to figure out how they structure their addresses is so much different than here a lot of the times.
I find that Star Tiger pretty much shows it listed pretty much the way I need to send it to the one so far.
Gotcha. So the sportscollectors.net, the one I use, sometimes it's just everything kind of runs together, and they don't put commas to designate what line it is. So I'm always kind of guessing, like, is this Southwest the name of the state, or is it address Southwest and then state? It all kind of blends together. So sometimes I'll Google it to try to figure it out that way, and sometimes I'm just like, I think this is right, and go that way.
Star Tiger's real good about that.
Gotcha.
And even Sports Card Forum for the most part.
I might try Star Tiger for my my next reissue. And then so the self-addressed stamped envelope is hard to do overseas. You can't buy foreign stamps, as far as I know, to put on your envelope to send overseas.
You can. Canada Post will send stamps to the U.S. And in the past, the Royal Mail over in the UK has sent stamps over to me.
Okay.
But for the most part, basically it just takes a couple minutes. I Google what their postage rates are and then convert it to US currency. And then I'll just include that amount of US money. And I always go over it. If it's like a 25 cents or above, I just throw in an extra $1 because, postage prices go up all the time. And
Sure.
sometimes they actually send me the money back
Well,
and pick up the postage themselves.
What are they going to do with $3?
Well, right. I think it was probably they were just really appreciative that I was at least,
Making the effort.
Yeah.
Sure. When you send overseas, do you do anything special with your envelope because it's going to get beaten up?
No.
Tape all the edges or anything?
No, shockingly, I've never had a problem with something coming back from overseas. It's just domestic stuff that gets really chewed up.
Yeah, it does.
Like I've had stuff come back from the Czech Republic that looked like it came from down the street.
That's another great question. So we talked about how you stuff your envelopes, and I talked about how I use the index cards. I think a lot of us do. When I get my returns back, sometimes those envelopes look filthy, like somebody had just been dragging it on the street. And I don't know if there's a way around that. So I'm sure it's coming off of the cheap envelopes I'm using. I've only had it really affect one or two cards that had all white borders, and you could tell they were kind of dirty because they didn't return the envelope, the index card. But have you guys run into that too, or is it I'm just buying the cheapest stuff possible? Not so much. It's just
an issue with that.
No, not you. I'm trying to. Not you.
Yeah, so not the outside, the actual index card.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with the inside of the envelope.
The index cards, no, they're pretty there and stay clean. Every now and then, some of them looks like it's been pressed through with some of the ink or whatnot from the envelopes. Yeah, but not.
I'll get them, and you can even see the lines and the ridges where the envelope comes together, and everything else is just filthy.
Oh,
I don't know why it does that. It must be just a Texas thing. we're hard on our mail down here.
It's something. Maybe it's the humidity.
I don't know. Have you guys? I know Adam does a lot, or at least does the pay for signatures a lot. But have you used like the mail-ins or done the card shows? Or there's a company called Pass Pros. I see their name pop up a lot, and sometimes I'm shocked at what some of these athletes are charging. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who remembers you at all, but you want me to pay $25 to sign this card when Robert Parrish will do it for free.
Right.
I think some of these people are also doing it for charity or whatnot. Sit there and shout out autos for a cure or whatnot.
Yeah. So I think it's different when they post it. Like this is going for this such and such charity. I feel different about it. Then
a lot of them sit there and send me notes back though, and sit there and say, hey, I send this to this and that. They might not necessarily post it or is not known, on the websites or whatnot. But to me, most of the time these people are charging those fees because either they don't really want that many TTM sent to them, and or that they quote are using it for donation purposes or whatnot.
I know, like Joe Theismann is real big about that. He just says a $5 donation made out directly to St. Jude's, like not even with his name on it. Gotcha. It's like, $5 to St. Jude's for a signed Joe Theismann photo. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott, do you go down that route at all?
Yeah, I've done Pass Pros and I've done private signings.
Have you done like the TriStar deal where you send them things and then they get it signed at whatever show they're doing and then they'll send it back to you? I haven't tried that yet.
Not really. Like I go to a lot of shows, so I see a lot of the people at the shows. So I'd rather do that in person.
Yeah, I'm always nervous. I have a project that I've been working on, and there's some guys that signed from Pass Pros, but I already have some autographs on it, and I'm really scared about sending it off and never getting it back. I'm like, these guys will never sign in person, so I'll never finish this. But I'm not confident that if this walks out the door, I'll ever see it again.
That's a gamble.
It is.
I did it once, and I was nervous about it. It worked out, but I don't think I'd ever do it again.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's a rule of thumb is whatever I send out the door, I hope to get back. But if I don't, it is what it is. It's like going to Vegas where you expect to lose all your money. I feel the same way about TTM.
I never expect to lose all my money, sir. How dare you?
Well, then you go home
It just
disappointed.
happens.
So John's giving us a gentle nudge to show some autographs here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, we can do that.
Let's try it.
Who would like to start?
How about the host with the most?
There you go.
All right. I picked out some cards. So these are just cards that I've gotten this year so far that I thought were really fun. This is the chicken, the famous San Diego chicken. And I just thought it was super random. And the fact that his handwriting is amazing makes me love this card even more. I sent him some questions. And one of the questions was, what was the hottest game you ever worked? And it happened to be an away game in Texas in the old ballpark. And he said it was like 105 degrees, which sounds miserable, dressed up like a chicken. Moose Johnston will sign for free, 1 per. Russ Grimm. I just had this because it had the Hall of Fame. And I wanted to point out that sometimes they'll add inscriptions without you asking, but don't be afraid to ask for an inscription. Roger Craig, I didn't ask for an inscription, and he gave me one. And it's a little hard to read, but it says 2-time Super Bowl champs. Jim Everett was a one per, but that was absolutely free. That was really awesome. Bob Greasy, 1 per, gave me the Hall of Fame without asking. I like Ronaldo just because what a great signature and what a really nice inscription.
Holy cow.
I just dig that one a lot. I mentioned it early, Robert Parrish. I think I sent him 2 cards. He signed both of them and completely free. Hall of Famer, free. Speaking of Hall of Famer, here's another one signed for free. Bob Hurley. That's great. I sent this Gail Goodrich off a few years ago before he started charging. And I'm just a Gail Goodrich fan, so that's at the top. Just to show another really kind of fun card, Kat Osterman. This one's numbered to 99. She'll sign 1 per, but she personalizes it, and it doesn't bother me. I do like the Olympic cards. And here's Dottie. I just added this one because I just thought the gold popped really well. I got this one back last week or the week before. David Brown, Olympian. I just think this one is amazing. He's blind, and so he was actually competing in the Paralympics. And I was blown away that he would take the time and the effort to sign that card for me. Richard Petty is one of the best it's ever been, and
Legend.
he signs for free all the time. And
They call him the king for a reason.
And the greatest of all time, Mario Andretti.
Oof.
I got him signed in person, and his autograph looks exactly like that. So it was really awesome. I got excited about Wayne Newton, and I got super excited about Shaka Khan. So those are 2 autographs I certainly didn't think I was ever going to get back. And that was just kind of just a brief look at some of the random and fun cards I got back this year.
So those are great.
I love it.
Those are great. Shaka
I mean,
Khan.
when you get these in the mail, you get excited. I'm just saying.
You do. There's no doubt.
They're like little presents every day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Zach, what'd you pull this year? Or period?
Well, I just went through and I got just a smattering of all kinds of different things. I was showing a couple different sports, showing you guys backstage the old Neymar that I got through Paris Saint-Germain. Years ago when he was working in the front office, I got Joe Torre to sign that one for me. And I think I got him real fast because I mentioned him on the police squad, Tommy Lasorda. Shout out to Mr. Adam, Mr. Hank Aaron right there.
You got him TTM?
Yes,
That's
I did.
amazing.
Yep. Another one, Drew Brees. Just guys that I never thought were going to be coming back. Jerry Rice.
Wow.
Never thought. TJ Watt, but he has changed. I got him his rookie year. Doesn't appear he's signing anymore because I tried him again for a friend of mine. But let's see. Old football, we got Roger Staubach through the mail. Another Adam shout out, Rod Woodson when he was coaching for the Raiders. Butkus, I got a bunch. He added a lot too. And then A couple more silver pops on Pat Riley. Got him through the heat. And then the first big one I actually got back was Steph Curry there.
Wow.
Which I was kind of shocked at. The first lady, a couple more. The first lady of hockey, Manon Rhéaume, just got her back a couple months ago. If you want to send to her through the LA Kings, got this Wayne Gretzky character back through the mail. That was a long shot. Yager came back from the Czech Republic, and he not only gave me back the $2 I sent him, but threw me an extra $1. So Jaromir Jagr gave me $1. Couple more. Connor McDavid. I'm not sure if he still signs, but he did for me through the Oilers. Marc-Andre Fleury is a fantastic autograph signer. Coach K, Krzyzewski. I can't remember where I sent to him. I have it written down. And then this is the reason you always try. I sent to Marian Hossa. Never heard back from him. Then I found an address for his brother Marcel in the Czech Republic. And I got Marcel, but apparently Marian, and this is the card I had sent him, was in the Czech Republic visiting, signed it, and sent it back in the same envelope that his brother came in.
That's wild.
So, and that's the thing with a lot of these, it's just, you never know. Worst came to worst, I was out a trading card. And some of the ones that came back there, absolutely nuts.
Well, I'm embarrassed. I showed my cards first. Scott, have you got any great returns to show us?
Yeah. So if you don't know, I do something a little different, and I send players art. And I tell them they can keep the art, sign the card, and send the card back. And sometimes they send the art back, which is fun. And I usually donate that to charity. But then sometimes they personalize it to me. So this is Carl Erskine. And then because I do it this way, I don't take a lot of risks. So the guys I send to are pretty easy to get. This is Camilo Pascual. This was a private signing for Hunter Pence. And another private signing for Jason Kipnis.
Wow.
I love the dirt bag.
Yeah.
This is Blake Jameson, who is a sports artist. Here's Guy Fieri.
So wait, did Blake sign the hat and the?
No, that's like his little logo.
Huh.
So I put that on the hat, and he signed. That's his signature. So here's Guy Fieri.
That's awesome.
And here's one of my all-time favorites. I did Len Barker in person, and then sent this one to Morgana.
Wow.
And here's one I've never shown before. This guy is Glenn Brummer. So he played for the Cardinals in, I believe this is 82, and he's a backup catcher, and he stole home. So my letter was asking him about stealing home, and I asked him if Whitey Herzog was mad at him for stealing home, because the backup catcher has no business stealing home. And he goes, no, Whitey was fine with it. And so it was a good return. I have his questions. I asked him who would play him in the movie. He said Tom Berenger. And I forget what the other question was, but I asked him who his favorite artist was, and he said it was me. So that he's a winner in my book.
Nice.
Those are really, really fun.
Thank you.
Hey, Adam, what you got?
All right. So first and foremost, I want to tell everybody that there's no better time to start than right now.
That's right.
A lot of these guys that you sit there and see some of these autographs that they have already showed, and some that I might be showing, some of them don't even sign anymore. So, if you keep waiting, you're going to get less chances at some of these great autographs. So start now. And there's proof in the pudding that these guys are legitimately signing these cards, because, you know, I'm sitting there trying to send some Hall of Fame rookies through the mail, and then I'll get them slabbed up afterwards or whatnot. So, you know, these are all, you know, legitimate Hall of Fame rookie cards that are autographs and so on and so forth. So that's what made me start doing TTM, seeing people actually put the ink in the mail, get them back, and get them authenticated. So the proof's in the pudding. So it only takes you to sit there and put a couple of stamps on some envelopes and get them shipped out. Now, to kind of answer another little question, well, which cards do I send, is a common question. So I went ahead and pulled some cards out. You know, you can get some very cheap, inexpensive Hall of Fame cards for like $0.25 to $1, you know, some of these little swell brands or something like that. And then you just send it out. You know, a Diamond Kings card of Wade Boggs, you know, another swell, you know, just, you know, these Hall of Fame legend cards or whatnot, you know, just, you know, a little score all-star, you know, cheap Rhino card, you know, Jim Palmer, you know, just cheap cards you can put in the mail just to get your feet wet, you know. I think some sets are even made, you know, for ink, you know, like these Fleer all-time greats or whatnot, you know. I got a few of those signed. I got a few more that I wasn't able to get pulled out or whatnot. And then, you know,
the 666.
what's cool is always getting, you know, 3 legendary baseball players signed on a card too. So I figured I'd show something like that. And then, you know, there's cool little sets, you know, there's these baseball card sets as well. You can just get autographs on. See, like Ron Reed, he's a unknown player, but I think he charges like $10 per, but it goes to a like disabled kids summer camp or whatnot. There's a Carl Erskine, and Mr. Scott just showed one, Orlando Cepeda, Hall of Famer. You know, we need to talk about how we prep shiny cards too here in a minute or whatnot, but here's some shiny cards, autographs: Raleigh Joyner, Bucky Dent, Harold Baines, Juan Marisol on those. So those are just some cards, you know, that I sat there and wanted to share. And A and G are just perfect for autographs as well.
Absolutely.
A couple of those.
I want to spend some time looking at Adam's card closet. That's all I know is he has
Bring a
some
Sharpie and a
amazing
sandwich. You're going to be there a while.
That's right. Those are fantastic. But I think that's a really good segue, Adam, as to how do you pick out what cards you're going to send. I think you mentioned the shiny cards, which sometimes I stay away from, but there is a way to prep them, but I am certainly not a master at it. Are you using a little microfiber cloth on it before you send it out?
Me personally, I use a dryer sheet,
and
then I use a quote, whatever these things are called.
Dry erase things.
I erase things. I use those 2 things, and then boom, send it in the mail.
Do you do the whole card, or you just do a little section?
Man, I go ahead and just do the whole card, but
Gotcha.
you know, I really do focus on the autograph, you know, sweet spot per se.
Mm-hmm. I stick a lot with the cardboard feel cards for the most part. I have done the plasticky, the wax ones, and I find that if you don't treat them, sometimes they'll beat up. The autographs will beat up, and I've lost some good ones that way, and it's kind of broke my heart. So since then, I've really stuck with the cardboard-esque.
Yeah.
What about you, Zach?
Same thing, but I did not know about the eraser. But now that you said it in the chat, Goody G just said it. I think I'm gonna have to do that. But usually it's just a dryer sheet. Go over it a couple times, and then it smells nice when you put it in the envelope for them. But since I started doing that, I have had no problem with ink sticking to the chrome cards at all.
Scott, I know you're
Aquanet hairspray.
Do you ever send cards with your doodles?
Yeah. I tell them usually keep the doodles.
Keep the doodle if you want to. Please sign the card. Got it.
But more often than not, I get the doodle back.
The doodles, Your doodles are awesome.
Thank
My
you.
son and I like to watch them. You do such a fantastic job on that. So another question is, for me, I since I'm really hitting my TTMs hard this year, what I've been doing is I've been finding all of my duplicates and then going through and seeing who signs in the duplicates and sending them out. Are you guys sending randomly, or are you focusing on just certain teams or just certain players? Or I know Adam gets a ton of Hall of Famers. Are you looking for stats? How do you decide who you're going to send to?
So for me, I kind of like get inspired by watching other TTM YouTubers like Adam, and who else? Like Zach, obviously, and then Michael Myers, and yeah, there's a ton of them out there. So sometimes vintage players, I have a good source for cheap vintage cards, so those are readily available to me. But a lot of times, I'll just open a pack and find out who signs in the back, and that's part of my story. And I do the research on who signs, and then figure out who's the most interesting, like backup catcher that steals home plate.
Gotcha.
And I fall in love with his story.
Very fun. Adam,
Yeah.
you just focus on Hall of Famers?
No, I sit there and got a Charlie horse. 1 second. Man, that hurt.
Yeah.
But no, I sit there and will usually sit there and try to sort through some fuel that I have here and sit there and see who does or doesn't. I buy up a little lot of vintage, and then I'll sort through it and see who does or who does and who doesn't. And then I'll sit there, try to see if I can find some duplicates thereafter. And then I'll sit there and send them in the mail, and then if I find a little cool set that piques my interest or something like that, I'll sit there and start trying to buy a few of those and send those out or something like that. Of course, I'm trying to do the 86 top set slowly but surely or whatnot. Just something like that. Just find a starting point and then jump.
Gotcha. Zach, what you got?
Well, same for me. Actually, a lot of the newer stuff that I sent out, I'll pull out of a pack, and if it's gone through the lovely quality control of some of these, some of these companies, there could be a little dinged up coming fresh out of the box. So if I see something that's a little chewed up, you know what? I'll send it TTM. If it doesn't come back, it's not the end of the world. And then I like people with interesting stories. Like I just sent to him. I haven't heard back from him yet. I hopefully do. Justin, you might know this name, Percy Howard.
Mm-hmm.
He had one catch in his NFL career. It just happened to be a 34-yard touchdown catch for the Cowboys in the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
You only need one.
That's it. That was his only statistic in the NFL. That is a fascinating story to me. I sent to him and I was talking about it. I have not heard back yet. I truly hope I do, because that's pretty cool.
That's very fun. So speaking of sending off to Percy Howard and whomever, are you guys how are you tracking your hits and your RTSs, and do you record your dresses and things like that? I have a spreadsheet, but I have a spreadsheet for everything. It's kind of what I do. My wife makes fun of me all the time. There you go.
Yep, I have many lists and many spreadsheets.
Yeah, and what I do, I just log when I sent it, who I sent it to, and what I sent, and then what I get back and what I actually got, when I got it back and what I actually got back. But I don't ever log the addresses. And some people are like, "Hey, where did you send that?" And I'll have to look it up, because in my head, I want to see what's been happening recently if I'm going to send again. So I don't want to refer to address I sent a year ago, not knowing if it's still valid. So I'll actually look them up again. Do you guys have any tricks? What am I doing wrong?
No, I'm in the same boat. I don't record the addresses at all. Like if somebody asked me for it and it's been a while, I'll have to look it up again for them.
Gotcha.
But I don't keep them. And weirdly, I don't keep track of what I send for the most part. I don't know why. I should, because it'd be interesting to see if actually it does come back, especially if it's been a while, or if I sent to him multiple times over the course of over time.
So I do it to see how many cards I sent and how many cards I got back. to see if maybe I sent too many. So like maybe I sent 3 cards and they signed 2 and 1 was returned unsigned. Then I know next time I send, I'll only send 2. And I'll also record whether or not they answered my questions, because I spent a lot of time Googling and trying to figure out some of these questions. And if they're not going to spend the time to answer them, and I'm appreciative of getting my autograph back. Don't take me wrong, but do I want to spend that time to put forth the effort to try to customize my questions if I know I'm not going to get it back? So, for whatever that's worth. Yeah. So custom cards, I think, comes up every once in a while, and I've never done a custom card, but I know there are apps out there like Rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, I know you are doing your own custom stuff, which is pretty amazing. Adam, have you ever done?
Not yet. That's something other I want to dabble into, but I'm just too busy with all the other projects to try to add something else on the plate right now. So
yeah, so I mean, I've looked at the Rookies app a little bit, and it looks like you can just grab a photo off the interwebs, and then they have some preset designs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can modify the back. So from what I've seen, the back has the big Rookies logo on it, but I think that is a pretty neat option for like your movie stars and things like that, where they might not necessarily have a card, and maybe you don't want to send a big 8x10. There you go. Of course, Adam has stuff.
You can always find a card of a movie star or whatnot. There's Sophia Loren.
Oh, unbelievable.
These were made overseas though, so sometimes you got to find the cards overseas or whatnot.
If you go like buy those, the address labels and all that, you can always download templates. I found one that does index card size ones. So for players, this is Betsy Sock'em from the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Very fun.
Didn't have anything of hers, so I kind of made one of it and put the little photo up in the corner and printed it out, and it came out pretty well. I did that. I've done that for a lot of the All-American Girls players that I sent to, and a lot of like older players that I couldn't even find remotely cheap cards of to try to send to.
I seen Brandon Stebbins sit there and have a good little layout of those little.
Yeah, his cards. I don't know what he uses, but his design is wonderful. I like that.
Yeah, his postcard. That's the word I'm trying to think of. His postcard design, it looks pretty sick. I like those.
So I'm trying to keep my eye on the time, and John stopped me because I can talk about this all day, and I apologize for that. But have you guys ever sent anything other than cards? I know Scott's sending some bigger material. I'm curious to know how you're doing the return envelopes. So if I've seen people do basketballs and mini helmets and baseballs and things like that. I haven't done anything bigger than what can go in a tiny little envelope.
Yeah, no, I thought about it because I wanted to send to some authors, and then I was like, God, the return postage on a book is going to be ungodly. So for that, I would send book plates, but I never tried to do any sort of memorabilia or anything like that. I think the postage and the shipping would get out of hand because you have to get a box big enough for it, and then a bigger box to put that box in, and then figure out how much it's going to cost to send back. For some people, if they want to put in the effort, cool. For me, a little too much work.
Gotcha. Scott, have you done anything larger than your larger?
No, and for these, I just use large stiff envelopes.
So do you bend one with the return postage and stick it in with it? Is that how you're doing it?
Actually, I had the large stiff one, and I use that as the return, and I have a regular paper envelope that goes outside of that.
Oh, like a legal? Oh, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Adam, have you tried it at all?
No, I got like a little 4x6 stiff envelope, kind of something other than what Reindeer, Mr. Scott is describing there. And I'll sit there and put a 4x6 little, postcard type photo or something like that in it. But I've only done that like once or twice. It's typically baseball cards that I'm doing.
Gotcha. Well, I think what I was also curious about is what do you actually do with all these cards you're getting back? For me, I've been getting back so many. I mean, I was starting to put them in binders, but I was running out of sheets, and I don't have enough top loaders for all my cards. So what I was doing is I kind of separated them out, and I just used my kids' Pokemon boxes, and I put them all penny sleeved in there, and I kind of have them separated by what they do with baseball and football and racing and whatnot. I have them all separated in there, and then I do another one with just duplicate cards that I let him take to school and try to trade with his friends if he wants to. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. That's fine. But if he doesn't, that also allows me to trade with some other TTMers. And then my other question is what do you do with your personalized stuff? So I found another dad who is a Justin, who is also a sports nut. So my duplicate personalized stuff, I just send to him, and he loves it. I do all the work, and he gets cards for nothing. How bad is that?
All right. Thanks, Justin. Clearly, you can talk all day on this topic.
All day.
But unfortunately, you don't have all day here. Great show, guys. We have got another card to give away to one lucky winner. And James is offering up the card for this hour. You got your Johnny at hand there?
Oh, the Johnny? No, I've got that somewhere else, but it's a 75 Johnny bench. I was doing a switchboard thing here, so I didn't want to peel away.
All right. No worries. Let me get the wheel on the screen. And here we go. So let me do the 4-time shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go.
Luck, everyone.
Congratulations.
Hey, congrats, Daryl. Nice.
Daryl, congratulations.
99 cents.
All right.
Very cool.
So thanks, guys. Any last thoughts before I talk about what's up next?
I just encourage you to get into it now.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's addicting. You'll love it.
And thanks you guys for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for participating. And for our final hour of our marathon is up next. It'll be the rookie card rankings for the 1948 and 49 years, led by Theo Clemente Collector. So thanks everyone for watching. Thank you so much to our panelists for this great discussion, and we will see you in the next hour. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, y'all.
Have a good one, everyone.